And after 2 days of competition, CrossFit Yas picking up where they left off. 3 first-place finishes in the first 3 events. They had a substantial lead on the second-place team. But even with those 3 wins, Reykjavik is only 27 points out.
I mean, Reykjavik didn't get off to the start I think they were hoping for, but they redeemed themselves greatly yesterday, find themselves in a second-place position where they can solidify this or they can lose it. They need to do well today. Everything is really, really open. It's up for grabs still for most of these teams.
Well, teams are tackling event number 6.
Team Event 6 consists of GHD sit-ups, muscle-ups, and hang power cleans. This event begins with all 6 teammates on the starting mat. At the sound of the beat, the first female athlete will move forward and perform 50 GHD sit-ups. Once 50 reps are complete, she will move to the rings and start accumulating reps of the muscle-ups. When female 1 reaches the rings, the second female enters and starts performing her GHD sit-ups. Once the second female completes 50 GHD sit-ups, she will move to the rings and assist the first female in accumulating muscle-up reps, while the third female enters and starts performing GHD sit-ups. Once the third female completes 50 GHD sit-ups, she will join the other 2 females at the rings. When 50 muscle-ups have been completed, they will advance to the barbell and perform 50 hang power cleans, advancing every 10 reps. The work can be shared however they choose, with only 1 person working at a time. Once the females complete their last hang power clean and move to the finish mat, the first male athlete will enter and begin working in the same manner. The event is complete when the last rep of hang power clean is complete and the last male moves to the finish mat. The time cap is 25 minutes.
Your top 10 teams are on the floor and ready to tackle team event number 6. Your top teams will be in the center lanes. CrossFit Yas bracketed by Reykjavik and CrossFit Solid. Your top 3 teams, 4 and 5, Turicum and Fabriken, round out your 5 qualifying spots. But don't leave out the teams on the outsides, because there's only very minimal points separating. 5th to 10th separated by 25 points. And with an event like this, we have the muscle-ups, high skills, strict handstand push-ups. Let's see if Yas can pick up where they left off after the first 2 days.
I'm feeling really confident that they are. We talked to him yesterday, and they were confident about this workout. They've been having a great outing all weekend. Strong female athletes combined with great male athletes. Consistency in both gymnastics and weightlifting, and great communication as a team. I'm looking for them to continue down the same road today. Here we've got Reykjavik, and Reykjavik was kind of off to a start. They can't be happy with the start, but they redeemed themselves yesterday. Solid effort, blasting the handstand event and doing good in the snatch event as well. Finds themselves in a second place today.
Teams underway to determine who from the Meridian Regional will be going to the 2015 Reebok CrossFit Games in Carson, California, as individual athletes for the women will take on 50 GHD sit-ups apiece, and then they'll move to that rig for 50 ring muscle-ups as a total.
And an interesting fact, I've got to share this with you, Chase, because you're going to enjoy this. In lane number 6, you've got Anna Hulda from Reykjavik on the GHD sit-ups. Now, we talked about earlier that you want to make sure that your best muscle-up athlete is out there first. Anna Hulda competed as an individual a couple of years back and got stopped dead in the water by muscle-ups. She then got back the next year, and watching her on muscle-ups was like watching Rich Froning rope climb these days. She was effortless. So, I mean, one of these athletes who learned something from the regionals, came back, worked on it, and does very, very well.
1 minute in as first athletes are onto the GHD, and this is where you'll see people tear these 50 apart. 50 is not a whole lot of reps. We know the individual athletes had to do 100 yesterday. But when you're sending your athletes first in a conga line style such as this, they need to be strong and fast on the sit-ups. And like you said, they better have those muscle-ups if they're going to be by themselves for about 2 minutes.
Absolutely. You need to get as many reps as possible on the board so that when the next athlete comes in, you've got good momentum. You can rest the first athlete. And we're seeing some of the first female athletes make it onto the muscle-ups now. You got Turkum in lane number 7. You've got Idle in lane number 9. You've got CrossFit Yas, and you've got the Anna Hulda from Reykjavik as well.
Now, in under a minute and 45 seconds, we have just about 8 teams, 10 teams all on the rings as we approach the 2-minute mark. As we're talking about those 5 qualifying spots, Fabriken, who's sitting in 5th place with 377 after 5 events, they are edging out Team Butcher's Lab, a hometown team from Denmark. They're sitting in 6th place, just 3 points out of that 5th and final qualifying spot. Butcher's Lab in lane number 8. So lanes 3 and lane 8, it's going to be hard for them because they're not right next to each other. I mean, if you stick to your game plan, it really shouldn't matter.
Absolutely, and this is where the experienced athletes are going to have an easier time because they are going to focus on the game plan. They're not going to look around at other athletes at all. And younger athletes who haven't been to the show before are going to find themselves probably looking around and maybe not necessarily sticking to the game plan as they were supposed to do. Now, Butcher's Lab have fantastic support from all the local butchers in Copenhagen right here in the arena, yelling, and that's going to be good for them. One of the teams I'd like to keep an eye on, though, throughout this heat is in lane number 7, CrossFit Turkum. They are a good team, and on the male side of the house, they've got a lot of experience with Benny Bachmann and Jonas Müller, and they said yesterday, and I quote, that this is the workout we have been looking forward to.
CrossFit Turkum, who's sitting in 4th place overall with 403 points. No finish outside the top 5, save for event number 3. So event number 3, they had that 12th place finish. That knocked them down to a 4th place position. So as we see the leaderboard in these numbers, we're almost going to look back and see what got these teams in these certain places. So Turkum, definitely one of those teams that can make a move into that top 3.
Well, definitely. And we talked about it before, and you cannot say it enough. If anybody out there is about to build a team or thinking about, starting a team, you need to be well balanced, and Turkum is as a team, which is why they've had such good outings. Also looking at Yas, same thing there. Just a great team, good dynamics, good communication, and that's what makes it for them.
Your top 3 teams coming out of day 2 in lanes 4, 5, and 6. This CrossFit Fabriken, who's holding on to that 5th place position. 2 females on the rings. This is their 3rd and final athlete navigating through these 50 GHD sit-ups. So we'll have a triple or a triplet of the female athletes will work through the first half of this event. 50 GHD sit-ups apiece. And as they're getting to the rings, they can share the workload for 50 ring muscle-ups. Once they're done here, they will move to the bar. 50 hang power cleans. The weight is 135 pounds. So we're approaching the 5-minute mark. We're looking at event record. The event record was set last weekend by NorCal, 16:39. And NorCal, who just has a stock of strong female athletes, their last female athlete was off the GHD 35 seconds ago.
It was an amazing pace. I was watching that, and we know that Miranda and Molly are incredibly strong. The question was going to be, how are they going to do over a longer event like this? And I think they answered that question very, very well by absolutely killing it. I mean, they're fast on the muscle-ups, or on the GHD, but they didn't slow down on the muscle-ups. They just kept on accelerating.
5.5 minutes in. As multiple teams have all 3 athletes onto the rings. CrossFit Yas on the left side of your screen, blue top, black shorts, Reykjavik in lane 6, just to the right of them. Your top 2 teams after 2 days of competition. And you said earlier, Reykjavik had a slow start on day 1. They only got 6th and 4th on the first 2 events. It was that 3rd event, that 11th place finish in event number 3, but how they closed out day 1, 3rd and 1st for 4 and 5. So Reykjavik is actually improving as the weekend grows.
Absolutely, and I don't see him slowing down at any time during this weekend. And I think it gave him some confidence as well, coming out, doing really, really well on the handstand walk. Kind of gave him some confidence going into the snatch event. They knew that all they had to do was put up a good number, but they didn't have to force it, so they could go out there, be relaxed, and get some good numbers on the board. And that's a lot. That's what this is all about. As an athlete, you want to feel confident. You want to feel like I've got this in the bag. This is going the way I wanted it to, and it looked really good.
All teams have their female athletes onto the rig working through 50 ring muscle-ups. Butcher's Lab in lane number 8 is trying to move up into that 5th qualifying spot just outside from CrossFit Fabriken. As it's been 5 events, it's been a grueling 2 days of competition. Let's talk to Amanda Krantz about what that does to a team.
Well, Chase, I think it just goes to show how important endurance is, and not just with each event, but for the entire weekend competition. I just talked to the Fit for Life team, and they said they actually got a worse time during the last heat than they did when they had practiced this event at home. Here's why. They are tired. Their bodies are very fatigued. Their plan went as they wanted it to. They each tried to get as many reps as they could until they almost hit fatigue. That's when they would switch off, which was about 10 reps on the hang power cleans. But they said they weren't getting the power from their hips that they were used to getting before, so they ended up getting a slower time. So these teams who have built up that endurance to last all weekend long are going to do better out here.
3 teams off the rings at the same exact time. Fabriken in lane number 3, Solid in 4. Reykjavik in lane 6. Yas just behind them, so we have a battle with our top 4. The race is on the bar. 50 hang power cleans at 135 pounds.
And the Turkum athletes are making it onto the bar as well. But CrossFit Fabriken just making short work of those cleans right there. Now Solid is going fast as well.
8:30 in lane 3, early leaders. Fabriken, your best time today set in heat number 2, CrossFit Galileo, 19:06.6. And as Fabriken was early to lead, Solid in lane number 4 have been ripping big sets on these hang power cleans.
And I'm not necessarily super surprised to see that. The Solid team is a strong team, and it's not just one athlete carrying their way through it. On Fabriken, though, you're seeing that's a fast turnaround right there. And Emily Smeding coming up to grab the bar now for the for the Fabriken team. Strong.
Fabriken, Solid, Yas, all tied at the top. 30 repetitions done, 20 more to go, and they are racing across the floor so they can unleash the men, as they will have to close things out to see who will take event number 6. And Fabriken now moving back ahead of CrossFit Solid. Yas close in 3rd. Reykjavik is moving up to keep pace.
But at the same time as we're looking at the leaders, look in lane number 8, Team Butcher's Lab. They were in 6th place and they needed a good outing, but they are in trouble on the muscle-ups.
Teams racing through their final set of 10 hang power cleans. Yas has made a big move. They're in lane number 5, but Fabriken, Solid, and Yas will jump ahead right around 10:03. So Yas will send their men off first, Solid in 2nd, Fabriken 3rd. Reykjavik trying to get their 4th, holding on to 4th. Turkum in lane 7 just next to them, so your top 5 teams all holding on to the positions. As Butcher's Lab, like you said, they were having a lot of trouble, still are having trouble on the muscle-ups. Just being 3 points out of that 5th qualifying spot, they're sitting in 6th place. This is definitely not what they were looking for to start day number 3.
Not at all. And in the far lanes, we've got the Dutch and Nordic Alpha going head-to-head. Here we've got Butchers. They came in 6th, but they are in trouble on the muscle-ups. And until the ladies have made it all the way through, they're not going to be able to release the male athletes. This is definitely going to throw it around in the leaderboard for them. And as we said, in lane number 1 and lane number 2, Butchers are the Dutch. And as Tommy said, you're always going to have to look out after the Dutch. And CrossFit Nordic going head-to-head. Now, they are both teams that are potentially going to be able to make it into top of the leaderboard, so they definitely want to get a good outing.
We're 11 and a half minutes in. It's your top 4 teams. Solid, Turkum, Fabriken, Reykjavik, Yas. Their men are all on the GHD, and the race is on. 50 GHD sit-ups apiece, and then 50 total muscle-ups awaiting them on the rig. And Yas and Solid going back and forth on the women's side, pick up where they left off. It's their first male athletes onto the rings. So Fabriken lane 3, Solid 4, Yas in 5.
And here comes Jonas Müller from Turkum, makes it onto the rings as well. Now we know that Jonas Müller is fast on the rings.
Second athletes onto the GHDs for your top 5 teams, as the Dutch and Nordic are getting into their first 50 GHD sit-ups for the men. In lane number 8 on the far right side of your screen, 6th place team coming in. Butcher's Lab, only 3 points out of 5th, but that is not going to be the case after this event.
And they must have known coming into this event that it was going to be a bottleneck for them to get by the muscle-ups. I'm not sure if they expected it to be this much of a bottleneck, though.
The race is on the rig between your 5 teams in the screen. Fabriken, Solid, Yas, Reykjavik, and Turkum. Your top 5 coming in.
And it's interesting to see both in lane number 4 and lane number 5, and well in lane number 3. They're big athletes on the rings for both Yas, Solid, and Fabriken, but they are doing very, very well in stringing together sensible reps. And the Dutch has made it by Nordic onto the muscle-ups. Now Nordic are going to have to haul ass if they want to catch up with the Dutch and get back in contention for a game spot.
Approaching the 14-minute mark. Yas has 2 male athletes onto the GHDs, as well as Solid and Fabriken in lanes 3, 4, and 5. But a team that came in 7th, and it was a tight race from 5th to 10th. So as Butcher's Lab is struggling, who is sitting in 6th, this should be your team moving up and maybe to challenge that 6th place position. But Nordic as well, just to the left of them in lane 1. So now that Butcher's Lab is kind of opening the door for these bottom 2 teams, that race for 5th is getting challenged by Nordic and the Dutch.
Absolutely, and the Dutch are looking good on the ring so far. So is Numi Snekaterinason in lane number 1 for the Nordic team, but right now it's all about lane number 3, 4, and 5, Fabriken, Solid, and Yas. And knowing these teams fairly well, I can tell you once they get to the barbell, things are going to happen.
15 minutes in. As we have 10 minutes remaining on this 25-minute cap, but your top 5 teams are not worried about that time cap, but they are just worried about the teams to the left and to the right of them. Reykjavik sitting in lane number 6, trying to hold on to that 2nd place position. At the same time, maybe trying to challenge Yas for that top spot. Only 25 points out of the lead. Just not a whole lot when you're talking about those top 5 positions getting separated 5 points apiece. If you can jump maybe 2 spots, make up 10 to 15 here, that opens the door for the final event coming up.
Absolutely, and we saw it yesterday. The leaderboard in the teams was thrown around after every single solitary workout. The only thing that was consistent was Yas and I'd say Fabriken and Solid. They sat where they wanted to sit and they held on to their positions, but everything else changed after every single workout. So it's CrossFit Fabriken who made it onto the muscle-ups first. They're about to finish off the muscle-ups right here. David Karlsson making short work. He's got 1 more rep to go before he gets to move on to the barbells. And here we go.
Fabriken in lane number 3 was your 5th place coming in after 5 events with 377 points, as they are making a move on your top 4 teams. Closing in behind them, lane number 4 is Solid. Just a few more reps to go. Hand in the air for Yas. 5 more reps to go for Yas.
And you see right here, the Fabriken team have a good plan, and they are moving very, very fast. David Carlson is a strong athlete, and he's going to string together a fair amount of these. And that's the same athlete I was alluding to on the rings. Capable both on the rings and definitely on the barbell.
Just getting to the bar, CrossFit Solid in lane number 4 in the back part of the lane. Black shirts, black shorts, but Fabriken in lane 3, done with 20 reps, has a 10-rep lead on Solid, so it's not a whole lot of lead. Solid, another strong team, should handle this bar well as we approach the 17-minute mark.
Definitely, you got Felix Ledin for the Solid team right now on the barbell, and he's no stranger to moving it fast.
Turek in lane 7 in the yellow shirts, black shorts, moving ahead of Reykjavik. So Reykjavik has moved behind your top 4 teams. They were sitting in second as we're 17:30 in. The time to beat CrossFit Galileo, 19:06.6. But the race is at the left side of your screen. Fabriken and CrossFit Solid. Fabriken still maintaining a slight lead, but it is getting chipped away. But I don't think they're going to have enough reps as Fabriken moves in their final 10 spots.
And you want to keep an eye on CrossFit Yas as well. Now, it is Fabriken. They're going to finish this ahead of CrossFit Solid, but Yas are moving very fast through these cleans.
18 minutes in, 1 minute until that best time set by Galileo, but just a few more reps left for CrossFit Fabriken in the top right side of your screen. Fabriken, who came in 5th place, is going to get 1st place to kick off day number 3, team event number 6. CrossFit Fabriken get an unofficial time of 18:23. Behind them, Solid. They're on their final 10 reps. This is big for CrossFit Solid, who is in 3rd at 4:03. If they can jump Turkum, who is only 6 points ahead of them in that 4th place position.
Well, right now, the fight is on between Yas, Turkum, and Reykjavik. Now, Reykjavik were last getting off the rings, but they're moving very fast through these hang cleans.
Final 15 reps. Yas on the right side of the screen in blue. Reykjavik, who was last off the rings between these 5, has actually moved up very quickly on the hang power cleans. I don't know if they'll have enough time left, as Turkum in the yellow and black and Yas are battling back and forth to see who can get 3rd in this heat. And Turkum goes from 1 rep right into the other.
And that's Benny Bachman here, very ambitious, tried to get an extra rep in, didn't get it, hands off really fast to his fellow athlete, but Yas are on an absolute tear through these cleans.
Yas with 1 more rep to go will get 3rd place in this heat, but 4th overall as they are behind the set by Galileo at 19:06, but Turkum, who is sitting in 4th coming in, moves ahead of Reykjavik. So Reykjavik, who are trying to see if they could